Alright, welcome back to that G site. Today we're going to review X-Men First Class. Yeah. The 60s based origin story of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Focusing on Magneto and Professor X.
I liked how, it kind of been explored in the very first X-Men movie, the background of Eric Lancher, Magnus, Magneto, how, they gave him a history of being a survivor of concentration camps, of his family being Jews, and that's why he's used to being basically abused by society, being exploited and being an outcast, and add to that he's a mutant, so he's basically gotten to his head that he must be superior to every human. And here you get to see a bit more of the background, especially when they bring in the character of Klaus Schmidt, played by Kevin Bacon. And it was kind of there was a disjointed area there when he suddenly in the 60s becomes Sebastian Shaw. Apparently Klaus Schmidt was either his real name or whether that was his real name or what.
And suddenly he gets an American accent.
Yeah. Anyway. But I still like any time that they go through the history of a character like Magneto, because he is one of comics' greatest villains. The X-Men would not be the X-Men without Magneto, and here they really go in depth into his story and Charles Xavier's story.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Michael Fassbender, if you saw Inglourious Basterds, he was Lieutenant Archie Hickok, the German in the bar, and here there's also a scene of him being in a bar with other Germans.
Yeah, very similar.
So that was fun. I thought Fassbender nailed it. I thought from what I've seen in an interview with him, he played it like a dark James Bond, like an assassin, and he was really good at it.
Yeah.
He was switching from a Spanish to a German to a French accent with ease. Played it suave.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of strange thinking that in a couple of years he's going to be Ian McKellen. And I liked also the James McAvoy characterization of Charles Xavier, because here he's got a full head of hair, he's walking around and he's trying to talk of the language of the times, saying groovy a lot. so
I think it was really a casting coup. I think for me they were great in their roles. Fassbender, perfect. I mean, if Vaughn wants to do an old school James Bond movie with Fassbender as James Bond,
set him in the 60s though, because setting this in the 60s was just a stroke of genius.
Oh yeah. And you got McAvoy. He's like basically Austin Powers as a telepath. Right. And I couldn't. These two guys. I couldn't help but watch them. They were great to watch.
A bromance, as JP said earlier.
It's basically a bromance. And they do. To a certain extent, I see. They really build up the relationship, and I like it to a certain extent. But we'll get to that.
And there are elements there of. There's a lot of foreshadowing, of course, of what's going to happen with their relationship. They're already playing chess early on. They're already talking about his hair falling out, and you already see the Magneto helmet, but first in the possession of Sebastian Shaw, and there, it's the essence of X-Men First Class is the relationship between Eric and Charles. And that's for me the essence of any good X-Men story is usually between Professor X and Magneto. The exception would probably be Dark Phoenix Saga, but everything else is always revolving around these two characters.
And I mean, there's a lot of surprising connections. Between characters you wouldn't see. I didn't see coming. And I enjoyed that. I like that. I even like the triangle. I like the triangle to a certain extent between Magneto and two other characters. And Mystique. And I gotta mention this right now, and I won't spoil for anyone, but one of the best cameos ever.
I thought there were two great cameos.
Two great cameos. But that one cameo, priceless.
For me,
best use of an F word. Best use. Not just for, and I just don't mean the movies. I mean even the comic books. I mean, that would, it just had to happen one of these days. It was bound to happen that character would say that word.
And well, there was another great cameo that we didn't expect either, but wow, wow.
It makes sense.
It really makes sense.
It makes sense.
And it helps explain a lot as far as, you know, why characters don't age, maybe, you know. That worked for me also. I was really, I wanted to like Thor better because for me Thor was a great movie, great comic book movie. But at the end of the day, I couldn't help but say, wow, this is really good. This is really well thought out for me. You have to suspend your knowledge, like I said earlier in the quickie review. You have to kind of suspend your knowledge of the comics because they do take some liberties.
Yes. I mean, the Marvel X-Men movies have always, you know, switched everything around.
Yeah, as far as the age of these characters or the relationship. I mean, Moira McTaggart's suddenly American. She's not a Scottish geneticist here. She's now a secret agent playing like a Playboy bunny. You get Sean Cassidy, who's hardly even mentioned as Sean Cassidy, as Banshee. He ends up with Moira McTaggart at some point in the comics, and here he's significantly younger. You get the Azazel character, and he hardly speaks. You don't recognize Jason Fleming, who's a really good actor, but that's him. They gave Riptide a bit too much power, I think, there. Emma Frost is Emma Frost. I mean, January Jones, she's not the greatest of actresses, but she's hot.
She is amazing. I mean,
so
she's
really hot.
She looked amazing.
Yeah, she really looks like Emma Frost here. I mean, yeah.
And but then, you know, I just felt she was a waste. I really felt she was a waste.
For me, it felt like my friend, the Dr. Phil, he told me, January Jones, she seems to be stuck in the 60s, man. Yeah, because in Mad Men, you know, she's Betty Draper, she's in the 60s and she's an Ice Queen. And here, she's Emma Frost, she's in the 60s and she's an Ice Queen. So there.
And I just feel that's bad because, like, for me, Emma Frost is very acerbic. She's very sarcastic, and it didn't come across. And you know, and
because January Jones is not that good an actress.
But that's weird because I kept on hearing good stuff about her in Mad Men. Like they rave about her, so I was expecting something more.
No, dude. In Mad Men, she plays the Ice Queen. She's the most hated mother on TV, and I think this is the most that you can get out of her, honestly, because she's a beautiful face, but I really don't think she's that good an actress that she could do something like that.
That's a shame, man. Because I mean, my first choice would have been Trisha Heffer. Trisha Heffer would have worked as Emma Frost.
I think Trisha Heffer is too tan.
Yeah, she's too tan. I mean, look-wise, maybe she'd have to work at it.
And she's a bit too. She's older.
Older?
I think she's a bit older. I mean, she's gorgeous. I mean, Caprica 6. Caprica 6 is gorgeous, but I think
she would have been badass, dude. I think she could have played the physical
She would have been a better actress.
And
but
a better, exactly. She had the acting chops.
She had the acting chops because January Jones, at the end of the day, she's really a beautiful face and a beautiful body. And then that's basically her here.
That's what you get here. So, I mean, I just felt that was such a waste.